Thanks, Frat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let me begin by saying, as Kyla said, I am exceptionally honored and thankful to be here today to celebrate Dr. King's birthday and to communicate with members of our community about issues that are so important as we move forward in our economy. And as I say, I'm thankful, I would also like to recognize another great alpha man, as Ken said, Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. King, I am, if I may speak so directly, I am not so arrogant to believe that it wouldn't be possible for me to be in this role if it wasn't for the sacrifice, the vision, and the commitment of Dr. King and all who passed before me. And I want to say thank you, Dr. King. Thank you for our ancestors, and thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity. So I would like to begin by stating that in that vein, as time passes, it becomes ever more important to continue to honor Dr. King, his achievements, his sacrifice, and his dream. Forgetting where we come from does nothing but blind us to where we have to go, and we still have roads to go. And how do we get there? We get there through energy, endurance, and education, which is the theme of my discussion today. The call for education was made clear from such luminaries as George Washington Carver, Dr. King, and recently expired luminary Mr. Nelson Mandela. Okay. George Washington Carver stated, "Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom." Dr. King stated, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the true goal of education." Mr. Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. To change the world. We have just lived through one of the worst economic periods in our nation's history. I'm having someone from the Fed, so I guess you know you would have something about economics, right? But if we want to fully participate in the upcoming economic period of growth, which is occurring, it is incumbent upon us as individuals and as a community to manage our money to maximize our collective futures. And that is the theme of what I'd like to speak to you about today. Education and its impact on our financial future. The importance of pursuing financial literacy and expanding our life choices. And, like our ancestors before us, the importance of passing this knowledge on to our next generation. Let's just look at how education impacts us on a daily basis. The talk has been in the economics world, in the business world, we have too high of unemployment. And we know we have very high unemployment still. But look at the relationship between education and unemployment. As of recently as last month, persons with less than a high school degree, 9.8% unemployment. Peak of the recession, 16%. In our own community, in the African American community, African American males without high school degree, at the peak of the recession was approximately 48% unemployment. But look what education pursuing it gets you. For those with a high school degree, it's currently about 7.1. For those with a high school degree and some college or technical program, it falls currently to 6.1%. For those with a bachelor's degree or greater, 3.3%. That's today. 1 in 30 chance of being unemployed. Education is the differentiator between getting paycheck to paycheck versus getting to your goals in life. It also helps with respect to home ownership. Higher levels of education are strongly correlated with one's income and wealth, making the possibility of home ownership even greater. Our pursuit of higher education, not just for ourselves, but for our children, is a function of our own levels of education. And for those like myself approaching retirement, if we manage our money well today, we can actually help make our golden years more golden. We can retire in a more sound way. So let me specifically talk about this financial literacy that we must continue to pursue and expand in our communities. There's a vast amount of financial education that is available to consumers today, more than at any other time in our history. In the past couple of decades, thanks to innovations in technology and the financial services industry itself, we have seen an explosion in new products, including much wider, and some might argue too wide, access to credit. On net, this is good news for everyone. But as we also know, there's a less rosy side to this picture as well. In spite of many new financial options, consumers are not always making the best decisions. We are the richest, most productive nation in the history of the world. And money holds a very important place in almost every aspect of our lives. Interest-bearing checking accounts, debit and ATM cards, home equity lines of credit, low down payment home mortgages sold in a very active secondary lending market, and complex investments. All of these are standard fixtures in today's financial marketplace, and most of them can be tracked simply by logging onto one's home computer. And what about all those credit card offers that we continue to receive in the mail every day? I won't say throw them out, but you make your own decision. As the financial world has become ever more complex, though, consumers have been able to choose from an increasing number of sophisticated tools for credit and investment. More choices bring a real benefit for families and communities. Consider the new options in home mortgages, including subprime loans, that help to boost home ownership rates to a record high level over the past decade. However, these new options did not come, as we know, without a cost. Many Americans lost their piece of the American dream, their home, due to lack of financial knowledge related to the contracts they signed. We have evidence that Americans' general understanding of financial matters is not keeping pace with the rate of change in financial products and services. Many people still find it difficult to decipher and evaluate financial information that affects their daily lives. So it's easy to talk about problems. So let's talk, though, about solution. How do we fix this? With greater complexity and choice comes more responsibility on us as individuals to become and to remain financially informed. By using the word responsibility, I am not trying to cast blame on anyone, including myself. No one's perfect. Lord knows my wife will tell you that's the case. What I am saying, though, is that with greater financial choices comes more responsibility to educate ourselves on the available options and possible outcomes associated with how we manage our money and how we conduct our financial activities. Among the lessons of the recent financial crisis is the need for virtually everyone, both young and old, to acquire a basic knowledge of finance and economics. Such knowledge is necessary for anyone who will be faced with managing a household budget, making financial investments, finding reliable information about buying a car or house, and preparing financially for retirement and other life goals. On an individual level, Consumers need to seek out financial information from credible sources. Consumers must learn about the importance of saving and the basics of financial planning. Persons must understand the legal forms they are signing and the risk they are assuming when new credit liabilities or investment choices are offered to them. Just because someone is willing to make you a loan, give you a credit card, let you in a house, there's nothing incumbent upon you having to take it. Make that rational decision on your own by being informed. Do not be a sheep. Step forward and be a lion with your future. If we don't understand what we are reading or signing, we should seek out trusted advice from a reputable source, a lawyer, a financial planner, a banker, a trusted friend who knows something about the industry in which you're talking about, not just you know them. This is critically important for young people too, so they can avoid making unwise financial decisions, such as racking up multiple thousands of dollars in credit card debt, which may come back to haunt their lives for years to come, and limit their opportunities to achieve the American dream. For a long time, we've agreed that there is no substitute for a better informed consumer. The better informed consumers are about financial products and household budgeting, the better their financial decisions will be. Consumers should be protected from predatory practices, but they should also be informed enough to recognize what services could be financially harmful to them. On the institutional side, lenders and other financial services providers should present consumers with appropriate options based on their specific circumstances and risk tolerances. Regulations and regulatory bodies have been put in place since the end of the recession to help ensure this outcome, to help level, to the extent possible, the playing field of equal access to credit, of informed access to credit. These businesses should offer expert advice that you seek out and counsel by fully explaining the risks and benefits of each decision and looking for opportunities to help all of their customers, not just some. This is especially important for consumers in underserved markets who may not be familiar with the newer financial concepts and tools, and as a result, may fall prey to offers of expensive payday loans or home equity lines with high cost and hidden fees. Now, some great strides in financial education are already being made in the marketplace. Many banks, government agencies, community groups, and other organizations have developed education and support programs to help people make better informed decisions that will help build their economic security. For example, one of the first things that I did when I took this role almost 5 years ago as senior regional exec for the Federal Reserve was to work with the mayors of Cincinnati, Covington, Newport, and every major banking institution in this region to initiate a Bank On program for our community. This program is designed to help bank the unbanked and provide them with financial education to improve their financial literacy and ultimately their life outcomes. I am proud to say that as our last count, at least 2,000 of our fellow citizens have benefited from this program, and it has served as a model to involve people in their banking community, in their financial knowledge. And it is now a model for other communities such as Lexington and Louisville, which also have instituted this program. Thank you. The Federal Reserve System strongly supports financial education. We believe that if people make more informed and appropriate financial choices, the result would be greater financial knowledge and wealth for all. The Federal Reserve has a mission to promote economic and financial knowledge among people of all ages and walks of life. The board in Washington and the 12 regional Federal Reserve banks across the country are all deeply involved in economic education and supporting the work of teachers, schools, and national organizations. Locally, here in the Cincinnati region, we are revamping our facilities at our branch in Cincinnati to help educate a broader range of students and inform citizens about the role the Federal Reserve plays in the economy and the importance of financial literacy in our everyday lives. We open our facility up to students and into community groups to come and learn about what we do over there and to get financial education and placed in the right way to show how the economy affects their daily lives. Students who may have an interest in coming to the Fed, please call us up. We would love to have you. We also provide a financial and economic education website with a variety of resources for teachers as well as for students in various ages and levels of knowledge. This will not only enhance individual lives and communities, but it can bring real and long-standing benefits to our entire region. So, we know financial education matters, and like anything we decide to do, choices have consequences, and making poor choices have worse consequences. According to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, in 2009, more than 92 million people, that's almost 1/3 of this country, living in the U.S., gave themselves a grade of, you ready for this? C, D, or F on their knowledge of personal finance. They were honest. This suggests there's considerable room for improvement. Just over 30% of adults reported that they had no savings. There are some estimates say that's fairly low compared to the actual numbers. Other studies have found that 57% of households in the U.S. actually do not operate with a budget. It's truly, let's pay what comes in first and we'll get by to the next. But making the right choice over time increases one's financial literacy with significant benefits, improved educational opportunities, not just for yourself, but for your next generation. Improved access to credit, which opens up your opportunity set in multiple areas. Improved retirement lifestyle, and, in my humble opinion, improved intergenerational outcome. Big way of saying we have a responsibility to our next generation. As parents, we must appreciate the importance of passing along the fundamentals of good money management to our children. One study by American Express found that 91% of parents surveyed say they were committed to instilling lessons of financial responsibility in their children, and 62% gave them a weekly allowance. But it takes more than giving an allowance for hopefully efforts they put forth to educate our children about managing their money wisely throughout their entire lives. Research has shown that the more educated and actively engaged one's parents or significant adult in their life are about communicating the values of financial management, the more financially literate and generally successful that child will be as they grow and mature. It takes engagement on all levels. It takes living by example. It takes discussion. It takes action. So in closing, I'd like to state again that financial literacy allows us to make educated financial choices, discuss financial issues, and plan for the future. For instance, save money to pay for college, buy a home, pay for unforeseen adverse events. In addition to promoting our long-term well-being, financial literacy can help protect against predatory lenders' predatory practices. When implemented well, financial education can increase savings behaviors, reduce maxed out credit cards, and increase timely debt payments. The goal of financial literacy is not to say that you have maxed out your credit card but rather it is to say that you have maxed out your set of financial choices that in turn allows you to say you maxed out your quality of life. I began my presentation with a series of quotes on education. And if you would allow me the privilege of one more, I would like to end with one final quote. In his most elegant way, Dr. King put this issue of the value of education on Front Street, better than anything else that I've ever heard stated on this subject. He quoted, and I state, "Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." Let me say that again, my friends. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Think about it, my friends. We have a choice to educate ourselves financially and thus control our lives better and our outcomes better. We have a choice to be that lion and not that lamb. Let's choose that lion. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. King, for your efforts, your achievements, and your dream. I wish you all the best on this day of remembrance, celebration, and rededication for helping us to achieve a better tomorrow for all Americans. Thank you.